Welcome back, guys, and today we are going to learn about if a statement in C# with examples. So remember to subscribe and let's begin our lesson today. So if statement or condition is used to execute a block of code or statements. So if statement or condition is used to execute the block of code or statement when defined condition is actually true. So let's begin with opening our IDE. So we'll start our IDE, then we begin. So I had created a project from our previous sessions, and you can actually do the same. Let's wait as it is opening. So today, as I had indicated, we'll be learning about if a statement in C#. And guys, comment below in case you need you have any feedback or even a comment. Sorry. So as I've just said, if statement or condition is used to execute the block of code or statements when the defined condition is actually true. So our lesson today will be on if statements in C#. So if you are new on this channel, you can consider watching previous videos which we have just we began with installation of our IDE and even defining variables, data types, comments, namespaces, keywords, and even operators. So you can actually refer to our previous videos before you watch this one. So what is the syntax of writing if statement in C#? So the syntax is actually if, then you provide the condition, that is the condition, then inside here we will be having now the block of code to be executed. So to see this, we'll just provide an example. Let's define our variable here, int x is equals to 20. Then we say if, this is now our if statement, if x is greater or equal to 20, then we want to execute console. Then we say we want this output, number is greater than 10. So if x is greater than 20, then let's say 20 is greater than 10. Let's say it's greater than 10. So if x is greater than 20 or equal to 20, then that means the number is greater than 10. So if we execute this, yes, so you can see our statement here, the number is greater than 10. So obviously it will check if x is greater or equal to 20. So it has actually given us this line of code here. So it has actually executed this. So we have the output number is greater than 10. So the console statement will execute only when the defined condition is actually true. So this is actually true. That's why we are able to see this block of code here. So to just do a bit, provide more example, we can define another variable here. We say y, then we give it 10. So then we say if x is greater or equal to 10, we say x is greater than 10. then you can say if y is less or equal to 10, or let's say 5, then you want to execute, you want this output, then we say y is less than or equals to 5. So we want this output, sorry. So if we execute this, you can see we have x is greater than 10. So we have this statement here. So if we want this to see this, so we can just get rid of this. So if we execute this, we can see we don't have any output. That means y is not less or equal to 5. Of course, y is 10. That's why we don't have our output. So we just return our code here. But if we do this is greater or equal to 5, then we'll have these two outputs. So yes, so you can see we have x is greater than 10, which is our first statement. Then y is less than or equals to 5, which is our second statement. So we will have this block of code executed only if the condition is true. So that is if statement, guys. So we will proceed with now showcasing if else. So in C#, if else statement, so this is if, so we can now go to if else statements. If else statement or condition is as optional else statement, and this else statement will be executed whenever the if condition fails to execute. So how do we define this? So we'll just maintain this. So we say if x is greater or equal to 10, then it will execute this if this condition is true. When this fails, if this condition fails, then our else statement down here will actually execute. So we can now say, say x is less than 10. So if we run this block of code, sorry, something went wrong. Let me close there. So if we run this, then you can see x is greater than 10. So obviously this condition is actually true. So what if we do this? X is 20. So we say if x is greater or equal to, let's say this is 9, we change that to 9, then we say x is greater or equal to 10. So if we execute this, you can see our x is 9, and we are saying if x is greater or equal to 10, then execute this block of code. But if this condition fails, then execute this block of code. So what happens? So you can see what has been executed is x is less than 10. That means this condition here failed. So x actually is less than 10, which is 9. So that condition is true. So we are using if else statement. So we are providing an optional else statement, and this else statement will be executed whenever the if condition fails to execute. So generally in C#, if else statement, whenever the Boolean expression returns true, the if statement will be executed. Otherwise, the else block of statement will be executed. So to do more examples, so we can provide this one. We say if x is greater than y, you see x is greater or equal to y, then execute that else. So you can see it will still have that. So that is if else statement. So let's proceed with if else if statement. So you have if else if statement. So in C#, if else if statement or condition is used to define multiple conditions and execute only one matched condition based on our requirements. So let's begin. So our example, we can just leave it at this. So int x is equals to 9. Then we say if x is equal to, if x is equal to 10, then we say x is equals to 10. Then we say else if. So we are providing multiple conditions. So we say if x is greater, here is greater than 10, then we want this to be executed. X is greater than 10. Then we now complete our code with else. So remember, our statement is if else if statement. So we provide our final option. We say x is less than 10. We close this. Then we run this code. X is less than 10. So you can see our x is 9. Then our first condition is if x is equals to 10, then we need to execute x is greater than is equals to 10. If x is equals to 10, then we need this to be executed. What if else if x is greater than 10, then we want to have this output x is greater than 10. When the first condition and the second condition fails, then we execute our final condition, which is x is less than 10. So, and you can see we have actually received our last option, that is x is less than 10. Of course, 9 is less than 10. So the if else statement is used to define multiple conditions and execute only one matched condition based on our requirements. So that is how you define if else statement, guys. So our next is we have our nested if. Sorry. So next is we have our nested if. Nested if statements. So in C#, nested if statements. So nested if else statements. So in C# nested if statements or conditions are used to include one if else statement with another if else statement to test one condition followed by another condition. So to showcase this, just you have this, then we return our y here, say is equals to 20. Then we say if x is greater than 20, then we say x is greater than 20. Then inside here, and to do something, if that is greater than 20, then inside that condition, if it executes to be true, we say if x is greater or equal to 10, then we want to have this condition. So you can have this as x as a 5, then we have our y as 20, then x is greater than y. Let's say that one. If x is greater than y, then we want if x is greater than 10, execute is greater than or equal to 10 or equal to 10. So that is our first condition. Then we provide our else here. So our next is, we say x is less than, of course if the first condition fails, then x is less than 10. So that is our first if. Then here we now have our else. So if x is not greater than y, then we want to have another nested if here. If y is less or equal to 20, then we want to execute this. So we can say, sorry, I want to copy this here. So turn this down. So we say y is less than or equal to 20. Equal to 20. So that is our code. So let me try to zoom this. Yeah, that's fine. So then we provide our else. So we say console. Then we want to have this output. We say y is greater than 20. So that is, sorry. Then we get rid of this one. So this is our nested if, guys. So as you can see, our first condition is if x is greater than y, that means if 5 is greater than 20. Of course, this condition will fail. So if that condition will be true, then we are expecting to, inside this code, we also check if x is greater or equal to 10, then we execute this block of code. Else, if this condition is not satisfied, then we will have this last option executed. So if our first condition, this block, fails, then our code will come here. Then we want to check if y is less or equal to 20. So of course this will be equal to 20, so this code will actually execute. So is less or equal to 20, else y should be greater than 20 if it is not. So if we run this, execute this, we can see the line of code that is executed is this one. Y is less than or equal to 20. So it has actually failed to execute this block of code, and we have actually received this output. So this is our nested if statements in C#. So we define if-else statement to execute one condition followed by another condition based on our requirements. So we have our first condition, then we have another condition inside it. So we can see. So that is how we do nested if-else statement. So our next point is to see how we define switch. So this is switch statements. So switch statements. Get rid of this one. So in C#, switch is a selection statement, and it will execute a single case statement from the list of multiple case statements based on the pattern match defined in the expression. So this is a single, is actually like a selection statement. So I'll just get rid of this one. So to start with, assuming we have these defined variables here declared with the values assigned, so we will start with the switch. So we use a switch keyword. switch X, then we have our block of code here. We say case. So remember, as we had just defined, in case the expression value match, if all the case fails to match the defined expression value, then the default block statement will always be executed. So as we had just said, a switch is a selection of statements, and it will execute a single statement from the list of multiple cases defined. So we say case 10. So then we have our output here, console. So we want to say X value is 10. So if that value is 10, this will be executed. Then we break. Then case 15. So if it is 15, then our output, we want to say X value is 15. So this one should be the same as that one. So sorry, I say case 15, then this one should be that one. Then here we say break. So another one, you want to have case 20, say case 20, tab, say here 20, then our output should be X value is 20. Then we tab, then we break. Then we will have now our default value. If all of these fails, we will provide our default value. So here we say not known. So it is not part of what we have seen inside this block. So we break this, then we end our code. So that is it. So if we execute this statement block of code, we can see if X is 10, it will execute X value is 10. If X is 15, it will execute X value is 15. If X is 20, it will execute 20. But remember, our X is 5, so it will not be found within these selection statement. So it will execute our default statement, which it is not known. So if we change these to Y, say it is Y being executed. So if we run, you can see we have X value is 10. So it has actually executed X value is 20. So we had assigned our value as Y, which is 20. So it has actually found out that the value supplied is 20. So that is why it has executed this statement here. So in C# using one statement, so we have just seen how you use a case that is a switch. So and in C#, using one switch statement with another switch statement is also called nested switch case. So we can actually have a nested switch case, just like how we did with our nested if statement. So here, to break this case 10, we can also, inside here, instead of breaking, we can do switch, another nested switch Y. Then we say, we open this, then here Then here we say case 5. Then we want to have our output here. We say nested switch value, nested switch value is equals to 5. So we close this. Then here you can have another switch. We say y minus 2. We say case 5. We want an output here. We say another nested switch value is 3. Sorry, it's 3. So we close this. Sorry. Then should have this one here. So then we can actually now break. So if we do that, then here after the switch we break. Then here after the switch we break. So this one is wrongly defined, case 5. Then this one should be this way. So you can see our nested switch. So if y is 10, then it will execute this one. Then we also want to have another switch, so we will use y. If it is 5, it will execute this one. And if it is, so here we are doing switch y minus 2, which should be 3. So case 3 here should be 3. Do this. So case 3 will be, it will execute this value here. So let's just do this. So we have this as 10. Let's have our y, sorry, let's say y is 10. So if it is 10, sorry, this one should be the hard way. So if it is 10, then it will execute this one. So then it will take this value. If case is 5, it will execute this one. So let's see what it will do. So you can see x value is 10, so it has actually executed this. So if we change this to be 5 and we try to execute the code, so you can see it is not known. So here it has actually executed this one. So this is how you write the switch, the nested switch statement. So if we have this as 10 and we say this one minus 5. So if we execute this, you can see we have our first value, x value is 10. Then it has actually come here and executed y minus 5, which is 10 minus 5. Then our case value will be 5. So if we execute this one, if it comes here, it will actually execute nested switch value is 5. So this one will be x So we say x minus 5 minus 2, it should come here. So if we do that, yes, that is what we wanted. So you can see x value is 10, which is 10. It has actually executed this. Then if we take y minus 5, we'll be having 5. So our nested switch value is 5. Then another nested value is 3. So it has actually taken y minus 5 minus 2, which it is 3. Then it will execute this line of code. So that is our nested switch. So comment down below, guys, in case there is any comment. Then I think that is more about today. What we have just done is actually decision making in C#. So that is how you actually go about if statements, if else statements, if else if, nested ifs, and switch statements. So that is all for today, and see you in our next video. Comment down below, and even remember to subscribe. Thank you, and see you later in our videos.